How's it going, everyone? This is Mike. Welcome back to my channel. And I'm doing a couple of responses to some movie chat topics that were introduced by a couple of friends of mine to keep everybody busy and occupied during the lockdown, I guess. Give us something to do. So everybody's welcome to join in and try to answer these questions and all that sort of thing. So the first one is introduced by DVD collector 1974, James Higgins. And he calls this topic movie purgatory. And it's the idea that if you're assigned, if you find yourself sent to purgatory, not the real purgatory, that's a little more serious that we can handle in a chat topic, but just somebody's idea of a fake purgatory. You have to decide which films and TV shows and music you would take with you for as long as you're there. All right. So it's a series of questions. Now the first one is pick 5 film franchises to keep. Now this was actually the hardest question for me because everybody on Facebook and YouTube that knows me knows that I don't follow all of the popular franchises like Star Wars. I've only seen the first 3 movies, and that was way back when they first came out. I don't follow the Marvel comics, the Supermans and the Batmans and all that. I've seen some of them, but I can't really make a serious choice of what to keep and what not to keep because I don't know that much about them. So I only came up with 2 answers. And the first would be the Star Trek film series up to the J.J. Abrams films. And I've seen all of those, but I would not include those in my trip to purgatory. And the second would be the Superman films that started in 1978 with Christopher Reeve. Okay, I like those quite a bit. Now the second one is pick 5 filmographies to keep, whether director or actor or actress. And I chose Roger Corman, Robert Mitchum, Betty Davis, Preston Sturges, and Barbara Steele. Okay? And let's see, the next one is pick 5 TV shows to keep. I chose Route 66, Star Trek, the original series, I Love Lucy, The Carol Burnett Show, and The Ed Sullivan Show. Pick 5 films from your favorite genre, and I'm going to choose film noir. I would take Detour, Dark Passage, The Maltese Falcon, Chinatown, and Sunset Boulevard. Your favorite box set? That would have to be the Ingmar Bergman box set that came out from Criterion about a year ago. That's I don't think we're ever going to top that one, at least not in my estimation. Okay, now the next one's kind of cool. Erase 5 films from existence. Yeah, that's quite a bit of power there. I would erase Trash Humpers, directed by Harmony Korine, never should have been made in the first place. Dogma by Kevin Smith, I absolutely despise that movie. Natural Born Killers, The Life Aquatic, which I talked about fairly recently, and the last one is The Happening by M. Night Shyamalan, starring Mark Wahlberg. Very bad horror film, very bad. Okay, now we turn to music. Name 5 bands or artists that you would keep. I would keep Jefferson Airplane, the original Dave Brubeck Quartet, Martha and the Vandellas, the best girl group and the best Motown group of all time, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, which would also include Nash and Young, which would be, to me, they're pretty much the same thing. And finally, as an individual artist, John Abercrombie. And the last one is erase 5 bands or 5 artists. And James took great pleasure in erasing Elvis. That's unfortunate. I would erase, I can only come up with 2 actual names here. I would erase the Black Eyed Peas. I would erase Miley Cyrus. Actually, I wouldn't erase her. That's kind of cruel. I would lock her up in a mental institution for the next 50 years. And for the last choice, I would erase all people who rap. All rappers. I don't care who you are, what you're rapping about, male, female, doesn't matter. Anybody who stands there or stands in front of a recording machine spouting terrible poetry in a monotone, I think you should be erased forever. That may sound kind of extreme, but hey, it's my purgatory. What the hell? Now, the next topic is, it's about movie soundtracks. This was introduced by Blu-ray Jay Harvey. And he basically just wanted us to show our movie soundtrack collection on vinyl and CD. So I used to have a lot more soundtracks of movies and Broadway shows than I been purging my collection for the past year or so, so I got rid of quite a few things. But let me show you what I have. First of all, Star Trek, the original series. Great, great music. Here's something I've had ever since I was a teenager. It's the soundtrack from Goldfinger. Fantastic music. My favorite James Bond film, too. And here is the soundtrack for the great movie That's Entertainment. Lots of great artists. Old music that was featured in the film. Judy Garland, people like that. Here is the soundtrack to Flashdance, very popular film. Here is New York, New York, starring Liza Minnelli and Robert De Niro, directed by Martin Scorsese. Sorry, a lot of good music by Liza Minnelli, and also some great jazz music as well. So probably the best thing that Liza Minnelli ever did, really, after Cabaret. This is a record I bought. This has one side. It has music from the film Will Penny, which is not the reason why I bought it. On side 2, we have film music from David Raksin, one of my favorite composers. And some of the music is from the movie Too Late Blues, which was a John Cassavetes film starring Bobby Darin, and one of my favorite movies and lots of great music. So that's why I found this on eBay, and I didn't. The cover is kind of deceptive because I bought it for what's on side 2. Okay, now this is the music from the Broadway musical Hair, which is very cool. Don't have the film soundtrack. Film wasn't that great, but the music from the Broadway show was good. This is obscure item. This is from a TV show, a TV Western called Shotgun Slade that came out. It was a syndicated show from 1959 to 1961, starring Scott Brady. What was interesting about this TV show was that even though it was a Western, the music they used was jazz. They had a jazz soundtrack, which is kind of totally strange for the environment that it was in. But it had some really terrific jazz music. I found this at an estate sale. It's in pristine condition. Very good music. Here is the soundtrack to the Judy Garland version of A Star Is Born from 1954. Great performances by Judy Garland. Great movie, too. Soundtrack to Easy Rider. Has people like Steppenwolf doing The Pusher and Born to Be Wild. The Byrds. Jimi Hendrix Experience. The Electric Prunes. Really terrific music from a great film. Here's the soundtrack. If you like disco, thank God it's Friday. Donna Summer. Who else do we have on here? The Commodores. It's about the only famous people. Everybody else is kind of obscure, but it's still good music. All right. Here we have the soundtrack to the film version of Jesus Christ Superstar, which I don't know if I've ever seen this movie. I just bought this because I like the... Well, no, actually, wait a minute. This is... I don't think this is the... This may be the Broadway soundtrack. I can't remember now. Which I never saw the original, but it's got people like Ted Neely, Yvonne Elliman, Murray Head. So, yeah. No, wait a minute. I am so stupid. I thought I knew all this stuff. The Jesus is sung by Ian Gillian, and Murray Head does Judas. Yvonne Elliman is Mary Magdalene. Well, anyway, it's beautiful. It's beautiful music, very dramatic music. Here's a record I've had forever, and it's been beat up, unbelievably bad. Soundtrack music from Widescreen Spectaculars. The whole thing is falling apart here. It's probably unplayable. By Miklos Rosa from films like El Cid, Ben-Hur, and King of Kings. Beautiful music, and I wish I had taken better care of the record. Here's something that everybody in the universe has. The soundtrack to Saturday Night Fever. We all have that, don't we? Here's something that nobody in the universe has. The soundtrack to Back to the Beach, the comeback film for Frankie and Annette, which is great fun. And here is Diana Ross in Lady Sings the Blues. Kind of hard to see that. Great movie. Great performance by Diana Ross performing the music of Billie Holiday. Here is the soundtrack from sort of a new wave type film from the 80s or late 1979, 1980, Times Square. It has people like Susie Quatro, The Pretenders, Roxy Music, Gary Newman, XTC, Talking Heads, Joe Jackson, The Ramones. You know, great stuff. And finally, this is a This is from the movie Footloose. This is Shalimar doing Dancing in the Sheets, which is featured in the film. I don't have the soundtrack to the movie, but I did buy this. It's a disco single, right? 12-inch single, and great song. Now on CD, I have this very strange movie called American Splendor, which I'm not sure exactly when this came out, but this is a very cool movie starring Paul Giamatti as a real life character named Harvey Pekar, and it's got a mixture of jazz music, people like Dizzy Gillespie, and it's also got Marvin Gaye singing "Ain't That Peculiar," things, stuff like that. Very good music. All right, here's the soundtrack from Donnie Darko, one of my favorite movies. Great film. Here's an obscure movie that was called Groove. Came out sometime in the 1990s, I think, and it's all about. The whole movie is about people putting on a rave, which is they go into some abandoned building or some abandoned warehouse, and they wire it up with all these speakers and all kinds of things so they can have a dance party and not burn the place down. But I like that kind of music. So anyway, here is the soundtrack to Black Sunday, and also another Mario Bava film called Barren Blood. Now, these are both composed by Les Baxter. This is the American version of Black Sunday, which has the soundtrack and not the original Italian version. It's been described as very bombastic, which it really is, but I actually like it. So, and here's my series of Star Trek soundtracks. Okay, beginning with this CD version of the original film, Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Some music from the TV show, the original series, and Next Generation, just different episodes, things like the suite from The Trouble with Tribbles. Oh yeah. Anyway, okay. Here we have Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, which is probably one of the worst movies in the series, unfortunately. Then we have one of my favorite movies in the series, and the best music also is First Contact. Love the music in this. And finally, I'm not sure why I bought this. I may have not known what I was actually picking up. This is music from the J.J. Abrams film Star Trek, which became the first of that particular series. And I'm not even sure if I've played this. The music is probably better than the movie. I'll get around to listening to this again. Okay, that's my video for chat topics. Again, anybody is welcome to take part in this and leave comments. Thanks for watching.